Hello, and welcome to another episode of A Story Finally Told. I'm Eric Pratt, and I am excited to share today's video with you. Before I begin, thank you for the support. From new subscribers to everyone joining the conversation now, and those that have joined the conversation from the beginning. A special nod to my son Wallace, who helped me figure out video editing software and made the cool logo you saw at the beginning. This was a great idea, man. Thank you. Today I want to talk about forgotten stories, the ones that won't leave me alone. I've started nearly every project I mentioned in this episode, along with a few others, but these are the stories that whisper most loudly in the quiet of the night, reminding me that they are still waiting to be born. With that in mind, I want to invite you to think of a story waiting to be finally told. What person, or what people have entrusted you with their story? And how might you be the one to tell it? How might you be the one to act and tell your own story? So I remember when I was a kid, I was fascinated by the wonders of the world. Their size inspired awe, but what most fascinated me wasn't the rulers who ordered them built, it was the people who actually built them. The slaves, the laborers, the peasants, the ones who lived, worked, and died beneath the dreams of pharaohs, emperors, and kings. These monuments changed literally everyone, regardless of status. And yet, only the ruler stories are remembered. I was just as fascinated by the old mummy stories I grew up with. See here. The Brendan Fraser movies were the first to come to mind, but I also loved the older Boris Karloff movies. Now, you know the warning was always the same. Don't wake the linen-wrapped dead, or they'll bring horror, murder, and mayhem into the world. I remember thinking about it one day and realizing that the real curse was never the monster itself. The real mummy's curse isn't horror. It's the burden of the stories that were buried with the dead, the forgotten people, the silenced lives, the voices that never got the chance to speak. Those were the people I kept thinking about, the ones history passed over, the workers, the families, the ones who built, endured, and survived while the kings took the credit. Now, we have the stories of the rulers carefully preserved, but what about the ones who said, yeah, I can build this, I can feed my family, I can survive this world and still become what God meant me to be? Or the one who could have been forgotten had he not insisted, let my people go. The mummy's curse is to carry the stories of those who can no longer speak. Now, I wrote a mummy story when I was 9, and this villain mummy was raised from the dead when a new and ancient book came to light that revealed his true and evil nature. His curse was in hiding what could have delivered him from an eternity of shame. His punishment was witnessing his monuments crumble around him, his treasures stolen by grave robbers, and seeing his story finally forgotten. I lost the story somewhere, but it begs for renewal in the quiet of the night. Now, sometimes the truth slips out when you're not even looking for it. Now, one of these moments came when I first read Sharon K. Penman's book, Falls the Shadow. I'm going to completely switch settings here from the ancient times in Egypt there to jolly old England here. Now, she wrote about the murder of Evesham. The murder of Evesham. And it was quoted by monks. It was the murder of Evesham, for battle it was not. That line stayed with me. The fighting was so brutal that those who survived became fugitives, outlaws, fleeing into the greenwood, the marches, and the forest, Sherwood Forest in particular. In my mind, that's where the legends like Robin Hood truly begin. From there, I imagined a retelling of Robin Hood set 50 years later after the traditional tale, taking place in the reign of Edward Longshanks, right before the whole Scottish Hammer Braveheart thing there. Now, I wrote about 87 pages of this. before I lost my way in the details and the research. But I've held on to the story these last 15 years, hoping to find my way back to it. This is one that echoes in the quiet of the night there most loudly, and one I certainly pray to return to. I want to talk about one last one here as we wrap up here. As missionaries, I was speaking with someone about God's plan of happiness and the hope of one day being reunited with people that we love that have passed on. And I met this woman. Her name was Magdalena as I was talking to her, and she asked me how her story of reunion could ever come true when she had lost her fiance to war. How could she be reunited with the man she had promised all of her tomorrows to when she never even had the chance to marry him? This was a country coming out from under dictatorship, a country long shaped by fear, secret police, and the danger of being taken away for just saying the wrong thing. And now it was ending. People filled the streets with red and white carnations. Soldiers were coming home. Families were being reunited. The whole country seemed able to breathe again. But she asked me, what kind of reward was she supposed to hope for when she was still waiting? Just as she had waited in her wedding dress at the docks 32 years earlier. What kind of a plan was this? I didn't know what to say, so I asked to hear more of her story. And what she told me was one of the most beautiful and heartbreaking love stories I've ever heard, withholding names and some details because this is a story still being written. I only hope that when the time comes, I can tell it well. Before I go, I want to leave you with something of the storyteller's calling, or maybe the storyteller's burden, which can possibly become the storyteller's curse. This is what it means to be given a story. A storyteller's burden is to carry an untold story until the moment the world most needs to hear it. And when that moment comes, you gather the details, the research, the memories, and the pictures, doing your best to honor what was entrusted to you. Even then, you might still miss a few things. But still, the story must be told. For those who need its words, its faith, its courage, and its love. Only if it's forgotten or neglected does the storyteller's burden become the storyteller's curse. I think I'd like to hear from you now. In the comments here or on Facebook, tell me about a forgotten story you've heard or one you still feel needs to be told. Until next time, though, pen sharp, stories ready, and may the stories worth remembering finally be told. Thank you for tuning in today. Please like and subscribe and share this if you thought that this was beneficial. Have a good day.